Okay, that is enough of that. Hello, welcome to Left for Random Talk. This is a podcast that me and my friend Rev have been working on for years now. We talk about games, we talk about movies, we talk about TV shows. Generally, we share our opinions on things and give our input, as well as share a little bit of news. Hi, Rev. I know you're in the call. I see you. Rev, ladies and gentlemen. Yay. Oh, boy. I hope everyone's been doing alright. I haven't really streamed normally in a while. Indeed. Are you sharing the links around? Or is there something going on? Yeah. I can only delay so much, dude. From looks of things, there's one person. I think it just might be restream. Oh, there's two people in the YouTube chat. Oh, something's wrong with your audio? What's wrong? Leave the call and come back. See if that fixes it for you. Or just completely reset Discord. Because I had to update it before we started.
Hello.
Oh.
Hello.
Hi, I hear you.
Okay, that was odd.
Yeah.
For some odd reason, it wasn't recording me without the microphone plugged in. The one I use for the stream.
I want to give a bit of a heads up. One of the nearby towns has completely lost power. And we lost power earlier this morning before I even got up. So if the stream goes offline at any moment, that's why. So there's a heads up. There's a bit of a warning there.
All right, I'm now trying to share the link since I was kind of like trying to get everything working. What is this? 25?
We're on 26.
Oh, I see. 26 of L.
4 more to go before this stream is a middle-aged man.
Is live. Oh shit, I forgot to add the link. I just put the word in. I hate doing that. I really do. It's like, hey everyone, it's live. And I was like, where? I was like, oh fuck. Yeah. So
Like,
again, I'm just
when it comes to like the Twitch link, it never really changes. But like the YouTube link always changes. Because it adjusts itself to the title of whatever you're doing.
I see. It is always weird. Also, speaking of which, as it turns out, one of my friends on a different, what's the word? On a different stream, had just saw the, what's it called? Oh god, it's
one of the episodes, or
yeah, the one you just did now, the primetime. That's it.
Oh yeah.
And basically, what happened was they got on the stream, and they said the following, like right at the end of the primetime, they said the following. Just realized Rebecca looks like Flo from the Progressive commercial.
Yeah, everybody was talking about that in comments.
And she went with it, and he's like, oh, and he was like having a moment where he's like, oh my god, it's you know, like in the chat, he's like, guys, Rebecca, what is it? Rebecca saw my tweet. You know, just one of those kind of things. Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and get the topics for the evening, like always.
Hello, Turmoil. Good to see you. It's been a while.
Hey, LT. Yeah, it was him.
Yeah. I I was watching the prime time, and I had gotten up to get food, and when I came back, they were showing all those dojos. Suddenly she mentioned like Geico, and I thought, okay, somebody said it in the comments, and she said like everybody's going crazy with this.
Exactly. He started something. I now want to I now want to see in Warframe. I want to see a Geico spoof now, just as a joke.
I really like the idea that somebody pointed out. Maybe they put the pumpkin heads on the eidolons instead.
Oh, that would have been funny.
That would be a little bit freaky, just seeing a little pumpkin floating around.
No, they changed the
hello, broski doodle.
Yeah, hey broski, another friend. Yeah, here comes that Adam boy. But no, they should change the vombalisks into pumpkins instead, just as a joke.
I would do it. Last night I got the Dolahan pumpkin. Oh, Sean has subscribed. Welcome to the channels.
Yeah, thank you.
I forgot about that. But I was in a group photo somebody was doing in Cetus, and it's really cool. They're called Kaiser Nexus. I actually am friends with them on Discord now, and I believe I posted the image in our group Discord last night.
Hello, Sean. Welcome to the chat. Wow, tonight we're actually getting people. Everything. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Hello, Sean. Welcome to our podcast.
Oh.
Go
ahead. I'm sorry, Sean.
It's all right. It's all right. We record this podcast every Thursday unless something happens. Then we push it to Sunday at the latest.
Mm-hmm.
I try to stream artwork and gaming for the rest of the week. It's not really been that easy for me lately, but I'm trying.
Yep. So glad to see everyone's getting in. Everyone's getting comfortable.
Yep.
And all right, well,
I'm gonna post that text in the stream again, just so they'll know.
Yes, thank you. It is a solid schedule. All right, then. So let's go ahead and get into the topics for tonight's show.
I even have the list for the stream right there.
Right. So tonight we are talking the Warframe, the Chimera Quest. Holy hell, what happened? Death Stranding's new trailer. Who or what is the man in the golden mask or golden skull mask? The Zilla sequel movie. What never happened, but an interesting sequel nonetheless. Unfortunately, a bit of sour news, as always. Rockstar Games, the guys behind GTA 5 and the upcoming Red Dead Redemption 2, is overworking their employees to get the game out on time. Thank you, phone. And the game publisher treats employees like machines. Even the CEO blurts out semi-proudly, they work over 100 hours a week.
No. That's very much against the law.
Yes. Little Nightmares getting a Netflix series. Adaptation or sequel to the game? And, of course, I forgot Bill's suggestion.
He put in that suggestion. I told him, I think we've already done something like this. Haven't we?
Let me see. Throwback Thursday, hidden gems of old consoles and opinion. Yeah, we already did this, actually.
Yeah, so it's gonna remain there, but we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Here, I'm gonna put it down here, so you can see the donuts. I don't know why, but Gmod's donuts are enormous.
Mm-hmm. And I guess tonight we'll close out with another Revs Reviews. Anti-hero movie proved that Venom doesn't need Spider-Man to be interesting.
I forgot to make a jingle for Revs Reviews.
We'll get there someday. Someday there'll
be. The thing is, I have to juggle finding a bank, streaming, being a dungeon master on Mondays, which, by the way, the invitation is still there, and running this. So I got a lot on my plate.
Mm-hmm. Again, I'll probably do the jingle myself since, it is my review section, so I might as well. Also, hey, Elementalist, welcome to the chat or the show. Glad you could make it.
You can use the
So,
chroma thing that I've put in a Left for Random Talk materials to make your jingle.
I know, I keep seeing it and I keep forgetting to do something because I'm always like doing 100 different things a week. I'm like, I'll get to it
Oh,
later.
then maybe I
and then...
should do it because we're both piled up
No,
on shit here.
no, we'll get to it. I'm sure I'll figure something out eventually. No, not really, but still.
Yeah, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And as everyone can tell right now, I'm in a very giggly mood right now. So, anyway. So, we'll get into the first one. And actually, for this topic, which is the Chimera Quest, I actually have screenshots of the event.
Yeah, I took some screenshots too, mostly for the man on the wall being a little puke.
See, it's like you really do hate that guy, don't you?
I do.
Now, mostly I went screenshot happy with just everything out there. And it wasn't like screenshots of the evil you doing stupid shit, the Lotus Shadows, and of course the the big guy himself. So before I forget, yes, there are spoilers ahead. So if you guys don't want to see or don't want this to be spoiled for you, come back in a bit and we'll do the thing. It's like we'll let you know. Maybe. All right. Oh, thank you. And okay, and here we go. So, as of what was it? A week ago, roughly?
Believe. Yeah, it was last week.
All right. Well, a week ago, we had the Chimera Quest, which is you going back to your personal quarters in the Lasette and touching the Lotus helmet once more. This time, sending you back to Lua, but instead following your evil doppelganger,
The man on the wall.
which I actually thought was an interesting thing, really. The idea of like, okay, what are you up to?
Yeah, this all happened last Friday. I'm actually scrolling through the chat to see Snow's freak out. It happened literally the day after our show. God damn it.
Which is kind of funny when you consider it's like, motherfucker.
Yeah, there's going to be a dev stream tomorrow.
Oh, come
after
on!
Our shows. God damn it.
DE, why do you do this to us? Why do you hate our show specifically?
They don't even know.
Love everybody. It's like you love everybody, every other YouTuber out there that makes content for you guys, like talks nonstop about you. But us, no, we get shafted. It's like, oh, they're doing their shows on Thursday. Well, screw them. Because you know what? We hate you. We hate your show and everything you stand for. So, yeah. I know I'm going to be providing some of the screenshots here. Again, the first few are just basically the little shit doing random shit. Because why not? Why not be obnoxious and just basically taunting you with things you can't do in game. Also, yes, I'm sorry to everyone why I about the weird overlay on the screenshots, and that was because, well, I was basically...
shit, sorry, you're sending me screenshots.
Yes. What do you think I've been saying this whole time? It's like, no, I'm just talking to fill time. Of course I'm not.
Yeah, these are all the pictures I took too. Like every time I would I would finish fighting enemies, I would take a picture of the little puke. And I would always say like, fuck you. Every single time.
It's like, what are you planning, you little bastard?
Yeah. You know, you could have just taken out your pistol and aimed at him.
I could have, but I didn't want to.
Yeah, well, that's what I did.
All right, thanks for stopping by, Sean, and I'm glad you got a backlog. Awesome.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, like always, you can imagine that these incredibly
There we go.
oh, excuse me.
Yeah, I was bringing my Archoplasmor and my Atomos.
Yeah, he didn't flinch whatsoever, and it was weird as hell.
Yeah.
In fact, I love the fact that he didn't flinch or anything. It was very interesting to like just it kind of basically tells you, yeah, he's not really here. It's likely in your head.
Yeah.
So everyone uses the Archoplasmor because fucking hell, it's
I did the sortie
incredibly
today.
powerful.
I did the sortie today, and it was infested, and everybody had an Archoplasmor.
Well, this is the thing. The Archoplasmor is one of the few weapons in the game that basically owns everything. It's an incredibly powerful radiation shotgun.
Yeah.
It's the one of the few weapons that I can say I don't need a prime. I have one with me all the time.
Hey, that rhymed.
Mm. You see, it's completely intentional here. Are they buying it? Good. But yeah, as everyone can see, as she is creating this collage of annoying children from hell, this little bastard decides to just,
Fantasma cough
I'm
cough.
going to run around and strike 100 different poses to taunt you. Because this is a giant game to me. I'm actually surprised I didn't have him doing this the Slav squat. You know, the shaky breaky thing.
Mm.
That would have been amazing, but no, screw you. Still, overall, it was just insanity. It really was. And we haven't even gotten to the most what the fuck part about this entire quest.
It's the part where he starts doing a handstand on a pole. I really started to hate him.
It's like, God damn it, I want to do that.
No,
Why
it's just
can't
like I
I
don't
do
like
that
him.
yet? Yes, well, he's a little bastard. Actually, Obed, Cole, and we kind of talked about this a bit after the quest was over. And that moment where you jump back down the stasis pods back into what we're kind of nicknaming the Lotus Chamber for now. And we theorized that there's some sort of anti-warframe device she has there that like it catches the warframe mid-fall and forces transference to like push you out. So there's no danger of the warframe itself causing any trouble. Kind of like a form of depowering the Tenno.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if that's the case, that would be a very interesting thing to see. I would actually like to see this defensive system in work. But now we go into the second half, and that is once you go through the chair, is when you see like where basically you're now thrust into like this weird void form. And this is what like me and the others have kind of basically nicknamed void projection, which is basically the physical body of the Tenno is still left behind. And what we're using to jump around from place to place is just like the essence of the Tenno. Like a soul, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Which, basically allows you to jump around like a madman or teleport from spot to spot, which again was kind of like, wow. And of course, the big thing about all this is signed in this weird semi-organic chamber in Warframe.
I'm
Pause
putting
for
up
dramatic
my
effect.
pictures of like the Lotus Chamber. Mostly taking pictures of this little bastard. Like,
Yes,
how
in the
dare you
sea,
look like me?
wearing a very nice hat. God damn it, I want that hat.
No,
funnily
I don't.
no. Here's the funny thing. So apparently Rebecca, because she's a dev, um, has the ability to put the Lotus hat on anything she wants.
Yeah.
And
She did, like, when they showcased a Frame Fighter, she was Vampire Lotus in the game.
no, but this is the thing. I'm okay with it, because she is the Lotus, so she earns the right to wear the hat. It's just
It's
okay.
ridiculous and funny.
Yeah, but she even has a Lotus shrine in her quarters. That's also very weird. Yes, I can imagine. But yes, as everyone can see, Ballas is still around. My God, what the hell happened?
He's getting what he deserves, for all I care.
Well, I did say that the shock killed him. And of course, I was right. He did die, but they technically kept him alive. So again, point to Rev. But no, what I love is that this entire interaction, or interaction in quotes, I should say, has. Excuse me a second. Sorry, still a bit sick.
I'm gonna be using, like, the pictures I took of the sword.
Okay, go for it. But basically, what happened with like Ballas in this entire situation is he is telling us that the Lotus and Margulis, these people he and we know, no longer exists. She's no longer around. In reality, what we are facing, the enemy we are fighting against, is in fact just the sentient. Just there's only nata. There is no love, there is no compassion anymore in that thing. And now we're being put to task with one very important key, and that is, will we have the stomach to do what is right and kill her?
I will. I'll happily do it.
We can.
Pay me
Yeah, I
$20.
mean,
I'll do it right now. Like,
I'll just.
I get that there's the meme where she is Space Mom. I don't feel anything for her at all.
No, and you're not the only one. Like, there are a lot of Tenno out there who claim that. Yeah, I agree. I wish we could go back and play it again. Well, I think you could, since technically it is a quest and you can replay those. Just depends on the type, I suppose. Again, that's just me. Also, before I forget, as everyone can see, before I keep going, everyone can see that Ballas's right arm, like all that going on, is clearly not part of his anatomy. That was extended by choice. You can all see that, right? I'm not the only one who's seeing this.
Yeah. We all knew that he had a very, very long arm.
Yeah,
a lot of people believe that it was a part of Orcan beauty standards.
It is. They detest. Basically, the Orican's philosophy is anything that looks identical to anything else is a copy, and copies, ergo clones, are slaves. So in order to avoid that kind of stigmatization, it was encouraged for you to look as different as possible from everyone else. Ballas just kind of took it to the next extreme, I suppose.
I mean,
At least,
who's to say there's probably an Orcan that has 10 fingers on each hand or something.
Or an extremely long neck, artificially, of course. Well, yeah, but again, this is the point I'm making, is that Ballas clearly altered his own body just to achieve the Orcan's level of beauty. And, depending on your point of view, maybe that's a step too far, or, or this is like just sublime ugliness. Like, there are people out there who view symmetry as extremely beautiful, and some people have that incredible OCD for symmetry. And then you got others that like the asymmetry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a viewpoint. Exactly, and LT brings up a perfect point, and that is during the bit when you interact and encounter Ballas, he's clearly lost his mind. And he brings up the point of, what he says is, she granted me the gift of life. No, she ruined my perfect death, which is true. I suppose the Aura can also view their own demise as a form of beauty, quote unquote. However, to go back, what I was going to say is that there are a lot of Tenno out there who view the Lotus in a similar light to you. They don't view her as, as a maternal figure. And of course, those who don't share her view, don't share that view, also can be those who, those as well who view. Oh God, I'm blanking here for a second. View Teshin or the others as more familiar individuals, more so than Lotus is. Because, like, again, take Teshin for example. Despite his leanings when it came to what he really was, the Dak soldier and all this stuff, he sorry. He didn't try to hide it. He was ashamed of what he was, but when it came down to it, he played ball and he gave the Tenno all the information. He's like, yeah, I'm a Dak soldier. I can't, betray the Queens because they have the Kuva, yada yada yada. Whereas Lotus would hide who she is all the way to the very end and never, even once you know what she is, she still tries to protect you, in quotes. So again, you're not the only one who doesn't have that sort of familial tie to her. And honestly, those who, this has actually been hinted at for some years with actually a cape that came out, which asked Tenno, would you side with Teshin or Lotus? Which was kind of interesting. Anyway.
I think I sided with Teshin.
Oh. Well, of course. Well, that's the thing. Teshin has been around with the Tenno, and he's been training the Tenno, trying to get them back to that fighting force, that skill, where Lotus has just been there to guide, not really help or provide answers. She's been more cryptic than Teshin is. Anyway, another thing to point out about what's going on with Ballas here is that if we can all see his body, we all know what Lotus and the other sentients did to him. They've kept him alive, but have converted much of his body, much of the tissue, into a sentient form or format. And this is something very, very worrying. And that is, this proves that the sentient no longer need I saw that. This proves one thing, is that the sentients now no longer need the ability to reproduce with each other. They have a new method, this new form of reproduction, which is taking organic biomatter, which in the case of Ballas is his own body, and then converting it into a sentient form. Because if you look at his body, look at the legs and everything, this is something this is all muscle, basically. They've taken everything inside of him and have altered and stretched it and grown it to become a new set of legs and lower body. I wouldn't be surprised that if the next time we encountered him, he's no longer human. I wouldn't be surprised if they turned him into a mimic type or a new commander form. Hell, and that glow that he now has in his eye, I think that's the transference bolt going haywire. I think that whatever they did to him has caused the bolt to be active more often, and as a result is driving him insane. He's alone with his own, he can hear his own thoughts, but not like as a regular person. He now hears it all from his own head, I should say.
Yeah, the original leg thing.
Yeah, actually, I have a screenshot right here that shows a bit of it. Again, I didn't want to bring any more because I was like, okay, she probably has me covered, but no. Yeah, when I was doing the screenshots, I tried to get as many good close-ups of the environment and what Ballas was saying as much as possible.
Yeah,
And
you
it
can even
has
see his original knee. Ugh.
exactly. They um like I said, this is what they've taken from him. This is all muscle. That's very clearly what it is. Because if you were to
Actually,
take
like
human
that
muscle,
original image where it shows like the side view of him, you can see his leg clearly.
yes. Well, that's something else to. Hold on a second.
Mute yourself first if you're gonna do that. Okay, fine.
Hold on.
Yeah, he's sick, I guess. Yeah, when I did this mission, I didn't really understand what was going on until I saw Ballas and went, oh fuck.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Had a bit of a coughing fit. I have water now,
Mm-hmm.
so that should help. But yeah, so basically, if you were to take human muscle mass in general, it's entirely possible to stretch it out. And actually, if you were to what's the word? You would be able to basically take it all, and in theory, if you were to take just a fraction of the human muscular system and um, oh god, what's the other one? Um, oh god, circulatory system. It's entirely possible for you to cover the length of a car, even, believe it or not. So having ballast with this going on wasn't too surprising to me. And if you were to pay close attention, I'm pretty sure we can find where the original bones have been removed and replaced to form these new legs. So that's that is something shocking, really. And this brings a lot of concern into account is where is the sentients now have this, they now have the ability to alter meat and flesh. So where is where their next attack going to take place from? You know,
Mm-hmm.
other than that, it's going to be one of those ways to figure out like what colony or what location are they going to go to and strike first. The one place with a lot of meat they can work with?
Eris.
Eris, or another one would be they would start attacking Grenier bases and compounds first, because that's clone DNA. That would be more than enough to
So
start.
Uranus, mostly. And nobody would even know.
Exactly. These attacks would be handled if the sentients, use the mimics or any other creature. It could be handled stealthily, and we wouldn't even know about these attacks until way late.
Mm-hmm. Like the thing is, like with Uranus, there's a certain spy mission that if you do it, um, it'll repeat the message that you get when you first find Hunhow. Like where a sentient will appear and Lotus will panic, like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't see anything. What happened?" It'll keep doing that even to this day. So
Exactly.
there are still
Sentience.
sentients there.
Exactly. And the other thing worth to mention is that sentients can hide themselves extremely well when they need to. So even a Grenier plus We attack them. We attack Grineer ships. We, exterminate entire crews. All this stuff. Any attack that happens on a Grineer galleon would be blamed on us and not investigated further. So yes, that's something to keep in mind.
Yep.
As concerning as that is. Right. Other than that, it's just... oh dear. It's worrying. However, that said, the sword we get, or the blueprint for the sword, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh? It is an interesting designed weapon, I'll say that. Hold on.
Can't wait to use it. I know that Liam's gonna just cream himself once he gets it.
Cole has mentioned he's used it before. It's a very... He claims the sword itself is something good. It can destroy sentience, which, it's designed, it's meant to.
Oh,
yes.
man. Just
and another
the
thing...
building cost for this sword.
Yeah, I know for a fact I'm probably never going to build this thing. And that is, again, due to the whole finding the... What was it that one of the components is? It's not I know it's Galatine ducat.
It's Eidolon shards, Galatine, just regular Galatine, 1,000 ducats.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus fucking Christ. Really?
That's prime parts just gone.
Mm-hmm. Like, unless like you're like me, you have quite literally 50 C2 lith relics. You can burn those and get rid of all the pieces because everybody has those pieces by now.
Yes, and honestly, for me, and like I said, it's gonna be a pain for me because those Eidolon pieces probably fall from Eidolons, and
Yeah, it is
I
Eidolon
can't...
shards from the main Eidolon himself.
Yeah, and as you know, it's like I've tried to do the hunts before. I clearly do not have the proper optimized set to take them on to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you know me, I can't really
Go to the
what's
plains
the
with
word?
other people.
Exactly. So I can't like ask for help. I'm stuck on my own. So honestly, go ahead.
Talk to Equinox about that because they like to fight the Eidolon alone, and they usually win all the time.
All right. But no, what I might do is that Christmas always comes around every so often on Steam,
Mm-hmm.
and I take advantage of the winter sales they have, and because of that, excuse me, hold on.
Oh, we heard that one.
Yeah, I'm just trying to drink as much water and get rid of this tickle in my throat.
Yeah.
And one of the what was it? I take advantage of the Steam sales, and basically I just go to the Warframe thing and just buy the things for Warframe itself. The plat and all that stuff. So I'm just better off waiting for that to happen and then hopefully buying the sword off of Marketplace. Hopefully. Hold on. Oh, damn it all. But yes, just, I'm probably just better off trying to buy the sword itself off the market. I just go with that. Oh, it's impossible. Wonderful. So I'm stuck basically just hunting the damn thing. Fuck.
Yep.
Oh, well, never mind then. I'll figure something out then, won't I?
Again, talk to Equinox.
Oh, I don't doubt it's going to be a requirement for the next story. I really don't.
Yeah.
Right.
But what
overall,
Equinox does is they use Trinity and a Lanka, and I believe the Itzel Arcwing, and that's it.
mostly it's like I said, to mostly try and oh my god, it's just going to be a pain to figure this thing out. Is all I'm going to say. But I'm not giving up quite yet. Anyway, I believe that covers everything on the Chimera quest, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right then. So on to the next topic. This one will be a relatively short one, given it's just basically a trailer, and that is talking about Death Stranding's latest trailer, the man in the golden skull mask.
Oh
So I
boy.
take it you haven't.
No.
No. Well, basically, as everyone knows by now, Death Stranding. Okay, look, I need to get up and get more water for this.
Yeah,
Hold on.
if you want, we can take a quick little break. Yeah, the Chroma is an Eidolon killer, especially the Ice Chroma is perfect for Eidolon hunting. As long as you're, and especially with the Lanka, because if you have the Lanka and you set it up for radiation, you can cause so much damage. The only thing you need to worry about is, of course, when the Eidolon screams, because when it does that, it causes magnet damage. I need to hunt the Eidolon a few more times, mostly for the quills.
All right, I'm back. I have a tanker of water, so we should be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so as everyone knows, Death Stranding is the latest game from Hideo Kojima, the guy who made the Metal Gear franchise, who famously has said zombies in Metal Gear don't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Whoa, that's a lot of text. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we go back to the intro screen, because it has the chat open, it's just a wall of text, and then it'll slowly fade away. I don't know why it does that.
That's fine. It's fine. So since he was, removed from Konami, which
Mostly thanks for not sharing his swimming pool.
exactly. Thanks. That's the whole crux of this entire issue. But no, basically, he's gone off to create his own game, which is called Death Stranding. In the latest trailer, because the game isn't out yet, and in fact, it's not even out, and nobody knows what the fuck is going on. That is how strange this game is going. However, in a lot of the trailers, the or I'm sorry, the first trailer that came, or no, it was the second trailer. I want to say, yeah, the second trailer had a group of men trying to bring transport or transporting cargo somewhere. And during this during this time, they ran across what me and a lot of other people are calling the unseen beings, or these god titans, as some people have come to call them. And during all this, they get attacked, they get onset by these creatures, and for some reason, amongst all this rain and chaos, there's a man standing there with a golden mask, and he points to one of these two He points, and suddenly one of these creatures starts going after the group of men. Nobody knows why. It's very strange. And so people have been questioning, who is the man in the golden skull mask? Is he a friend? Is he a rival? Is he someone who um, doesn't have our best intentions at heart? Is he someone to be to be worried about? Well, this latest trailer dropped, and it showed the it showed the man, and it showed what he might be what his goals are. Now, I am trying to find things to the audience
Mm-hmm.
as much as possible, and another thing to keep in mind as well is that um, I don't know if we should try and play the trailer
No.
because of what's happened. Yeah, exactly, because of what's happened.
Yeah, it's. I'm gonna point this out to everybody out there. Somebody is stalking the YouTube channel and putting copyright claims on our videos that don't have copyright music in them.
Exactly.
Because like the song that is playing at the very beginning, the middle, and the end of our podcast is a song that I actually made. I built it myself, and it sounds similar. It barely even sounds similar to an actual song an artist made. So I'm gonna be working on that one.
Yeah.
So
I'm
greatly
again,
considering
I'm just
greatly considering just dropping YouTube and going to Twitch. So yeah.
for the moment, I'm just kind of stuck with attempts at screenshots and failing miserably at them.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to Google and just going like type it in. So we're just going with that. So basically, the man in the skull mask appeared once more and confronted Norman Reedus. I know he has a name in the game. I know he goes by a different name altogether, but he's fucking Norman Reedus. Everyone's gonna know him as Norman Reedus.
Don't you have a Halloween mask like this?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's somewhere there. I haven't exactly gotten rid of the damn thing.
This is a tiny picture.
I'm sorry, I tried to work with what I have.
Like for some reason OBS is deciding this large picture is now super, super tiny. There we go.
It's very odd. So basically this guy appears, and what I find interesting is that if you look at his mouth at the left side, you can see tubing going into his mask. Here's the crazy thing. In the trailer, he takes off the mask, but you can't see his face. He's clearly wearing something underneath the mask itself, like basically like a helmet on top of the mask. Something weird like that. Unfortunately, in the trailer, it's too zoomed far away for you to see. It's too zoomed out for you to see any detail. All you can tell is that yes, there is something underneath the golden mask, but we don't know what it is. And what winds up happening in this trailer is that he takes off the mask, and and immediately the Oh, by the way, as we've all seen, they have those artificial wombs with the
Yep.
babies in them.
Yep.
He has one too, and when he summons this thing, it glows red, kind of feeding into the whole. These infants are used for power, aren't they?
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, he summons this thing from the mud itself, from all this goo that surrounds him, and it acts like like this thing's been alive for years, even though it's just now been built together. Like we're talking, acting like a cat, lowering its head to clean its face, all that kind of crazy shit. And it's been implied, or is being implied, that this guy actually has um some sort of connection with these creatures, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He might be someone working closely with this whole otherworldly titans. Now, actually, I mentioned that we couldn't get a clear image of what's underneath, but no, apparently someone found it. So I am right. He is wearing like a ski mask or something, so we can see that. But for some reason, he has he needs to wear this golden skull mask that creates sentient goo cats for some reason. That's all I can describe this thing as, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's like, the fuck? Anyway, he even implies that he might have some sort of strenuous connection with Norman Reedus, which is also interesting. And another thing to point out is that during one of the trailers, one of the when the group of men were attacked by him and the monsters, one of the body bags they were carrying with fell to the ground, and suddenly a golden skull appeared on the face itself, implying heavily again that this guy is up to something. And I want to see where this goes. I really do. I mean, for God's sakes, Hideo Kojima is really going mental over this. Like, he wants to make this world as real as humanly possible. And by that I mean he's actually created fully functional real world counterparts to the game outfits and has worn them. Hell, he's even gotten Norman Reedus to do the damn to wear the damn things. I'm just sitting there wondering, okay, I don't know if this man's insane or is a genius. But one thing is clear, he's got to get out of the pool now. It's been too long.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, again, like I said, he's trying to make this game be bigger than just a game. And by that I mean he's trying to make a parallel. He's claiming that his game might he's prodding into the possibility of, what if these games aren't just games but another dimension, another world we could influence, and things of that nature. Even talking about things called homo ludens, or the ones who play. Again, this is like really deep philosophical shit, and I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. It seems fun. I mean, I wish we had more people here so that we could have like a whole like, oh, and kind of question what kind of cocaine he's recently filled the pool with.
It's gotta be Japanese.
No, it's not just that. It's like now he's going to start experimenting with different kinds of drugs while doing it.
like the early times, he used like Mexico, and then he went to Colombia, and then he moved to like Colombia, then Brazilian, and now he's on to Japanese.
Exactly. He's been slowly but surely, he's been building up a vast immunity and collection of his own cocaines just to create this crazy shit. Actually, I want to know if he has a Twitter, just so we can kind of talk prod this question of, so is the pool real?
He's not gonna understand it, and I don't really want to do that.
I don't doubt he won't understand it because of the fucking language barrier.
Well, that's actually not all that true. When you go to Japan, a lot of things are actually in English. And there's actually quite a few people that speak English.
True. Well, you also have like, just like how we have Spanglish, they have a bit of that going on as well.
Mm.
Some words don't translate well into Japanese, so they'll just use the English version. Usually. Anyway. Still, I don't know. Again, I just want to, I don't know. Maybe it'll be a thing later on in life. Maybe if we get bigger, which I doubt. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was the latest Death Stranding trailer.
Yep.
And the weirdity that comes with it.
It's been confirmed that he has moved on to Japanese strain.
Cocaine, yes. And now
I'm trying not to say what it is.
Why?
Because apparently YouTube actually listens to the videos when they censor it and all that shit.
Ugh. We don't get monetized on this bullshit. There's very little more they can do.
I would still rather us not say it. I mean, this is the thing about me. I swear worse than a sailor, but as soon as like a little kid walks by, I shut up. Even though I generally don't care, the kid's gonna learn it anyway.
True. So why not just start young, and so that way they have weapons to fight their bastard, co-students.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did with my nephew. But anyway, let's focus on this for now.
Yeah. So moving on to the next topic, which actually I think you're going to be interested in this, given your leanings, and that is the Zilla sequel movie that never happened.
Are we talking about 1998, where he's in New York?
Yes, that one.
Yeah. I'm sad there wasn't a sequel.
Well, here's the crazy thing. There was a sequel being made, and that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, goddamn.
The script was already set. All they needed was the approval of Toho, by TriStar, basically. They needed the approval of Toho to make the sequel. Because despite the failure of the Zilla movie, it made enough to earn a sequel. But part of Toho's contract with TriStar was basically they could deny a sequel. And they denied it because they didn't like what happened with Godzilla in that movie. Hence the surname Zilla. Now the new Godzilla, the one we have, is actually did well enough to the point where Toho won't do the same shit. Hence why we're getting the next movie, which looks to be just as good as the first. American one, I mean. But no, basically, Zilla had a sequel already made, and as it turns out, the script has recently been revealed to the public, and the whole thing is completely written out and fully set. There is no like cutoff point, there was no point in the script that was like stop because we can't get a sequel. Basically the whole script was made first in order to get an approval from Toho, believe it or not. And the whole thing would take me about like 2 hours to read entirely. That's how much there is. But basically, the main gist of it is that it goes as the following. Nick, the guy from the first movie, is saddened by what happened to Zilla. He's incredibly disappointed at the fact that they had to kill the giant kaiju and all this thing. Very sad, very disappointed. The scientists still have the corpse. Unfortunately, due to its size, they couldn't get rid of it, so it lays where it died, and they've been just dissecting and cutting into the massive creature as is. So Nick goes down to the subway stations where they encountered the eggs, and he finds out that there's one still alive, the one we saw at the end of the movie. So he finds it hurt, finds it injured, so he goes in and he nurses the injured baby back to health. Unfortunately, however, the U.S., the military starts figuring out that there's something not right. the little guy already at a good size now, is being chased through New York, and Nick basically has to herd it to get it to to go into the ocean and run away. He succeeds, and the thing goes. Several years later, the there are disappearances happening. People are just vanishing. Whole islands, an entire boat, a plane just crashing with nobody in it. Very strange. And people suspect that it's the Godzilla again. Like there is another one out there. So Philippe,
I don't
the
like
guy
that
from
character, by the way.
what Philippe?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they
I
kind
mean,
of
I
run with what.
understand why he's a piece of shit, but I still don't like him.
Well, they run with him again for the sequel, and they keep him as the same. So he comes to Nick and he asks for his help to go to Australia because similar things have been decided there. So they go. Then they reach Australia. Nick knows what's happening, but he's too afraid to tell Philippe because he knows what Philippe's going to do. And when they get there, they meet a woman called Anna who's doing research on dingoes, I think, or coyotes. I'm not sure. An animal in Australia. However, she's very defensive as she doesn't want them to stay around. Nick, however, figures it out and, sneaks in through the night and discovers the same Godzilla he rescued is now living on the island. And it turns out this one has had a litter of its own. Another small pack, except unlike the ones in New York, this one is much, much smaller than before, which kind of gets its attention. It also introduces the runt, a very small, very puny baby amongst the little pack. So Nick, Philippe, and Anna figured this out, and Anna makes some, new revelations. First off, that the Zilla species reproduces based on quantity of food nearby, meaning that the less food they have, the less young they'll birth at any given time. So basically, the fears of the first movie were never going to happen. They wouldn't have exhausted the fish supply.
Mm-hmm.
That's basic. That's basically the justification. And secondly, that they do bring up the Godzilla anatomy. The whole that this new one is learning how to breathe atomic fire, that kind of thing. Of course, Philip is still like, no, I don't trust them, yada yada yada.
Gotta
So he
clean
calls
up
it.
my country's mistakes, because bleh.
Yeah. Of course, they also bring in that there is actually a monster island as a result. Massive creatures are just appearing on it due to the explosions and all that stuff. And they decide to go to the island, even though Philippe has radioed ahead to let the world know that they're back. However, the big one, the Zilla this time around, actually is very affectionate towards Nick as it sees it as its surrogate parent figure. So there's even a whole scene where basically Nick gets in front of the creature. It has to kneel down, sniffs him, and recognizes him as its parent. And then even the litter gets around them. And Philip starts to realize these creatures aren't dangerous to humans. It was just a situation of misunderstanding with what happened back in New York. Even he's starting to realize this. But he still can't let the Zilla live, because of his job, basically.
Mm-hmm.
They go to the island and they make a horrifying discovery: why the people are disappearing, why boats are vanishing. It turns out there's a gigantic insect species on Monster Island. A giant swarm is basically flying out from the island and feasts on anything they can find. Basically, giant locusts, and they all feed it to a giant queen. It turns out, just like in the new Godzilla movie here in the U.S., these creatures serve as Zilla's primary prey creatures, but prey species. But because there were no Godzillas on the island anymore, they evolved, they mutated, and they grew into a serious swarm. So they get the Zilla to fight it. The two fight. They destroy the what the movie calls Queen Bitch. For some reason, I don't make these names. Philippe and the others, basically everyone agrees to leave the Zillas alone on the island. The runt and the rest of the pack start to grow on the island, and that's where the movie ends. With you know, according to the movie here, it says, the Later, against a brilliant sunset, Nick, Anna, and Philippe say goodbye to the Zilla and the Runt as they return to the ocean. The end.
Mm-hmm.
So a more traditional Godzilla kind of movie versus what we got.
Yeah, that's actually exactly how Final Wars ended. Like, you said Australia, and like my first thought was like, oh fuck, that is where Zilla is attacking in Final Wars, and it never made sense to me why they picked Australia. Now it does.
Exactly. Yeah, but like I said, the whole script is out there. It reads like a very short novel. Well, not even a novel. It's like a very short story if you read it. There's not a lot of detail, so it's a really quick read. Anyone can find it. In fact, here I'm even gonna share it so people can read it for themselves. And decide whether or not
I'm actually
they want to
looking at
give.
the wiki right now, and I'm reading the script.
I'm actually linking the wiki. Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's divided up into 3 acts, which I think is a smart move.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, this script isn't a bad read. It really isn't. Unfortunately, given TriStar's fuck up, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think a lot of this original script would have survived into the next movie, given how badly they basically screwed the pooch with the original Zilla movie. As far as I was told from that point of view, it was basically like the Zilla movie was supposed to be more like a traditional Godzilla with a monster he was meant to fight, but then the studio didn't want that because they wanted to capitalize off of the success of the Jurassic Park movies that came out and yada yada. Basically, they wanted to compete with Jurassic Park and fail.
Yeah. When Godzilla with Godzilla 2000, there's that scene where Godzilla leans closer to the car. And I love watching that movie with the director's commentary. And the director said that it's nearly impossible these days to make a movie that has a giant lizard and not have somebody go her, it's Jurassic Park. It doesn't matter. It wouldn't have mattered if they were competing against Jurassic Park or if they actually went with the Godzilla thing. There would be a Jurassic Park reference at some point from the audience.
Yeah, hell, even a lot of the marketing was like heavily going with oh god, what's the word? With a lot of Jurassic Park-esque things, and that was just no. But yeah, again, like I said, I think it's good we got it in this format versus an actual movie, because again, less studio interference, more enjoyment for us.
Mm-hmm.
Still, there are people, however, who are clamoring on to Toho and well, what's the word? Clamoring towards the other and TriStar and asking for the sequel to be made, but it's specifically not to counteract the current monster movies they're making, but more as a sort of nod and wink to the fans. It doesn't even need to be live action, according to some. It just needs to be, something to watch. However, I'm not too sure about that myself. I mean, I think the animated series for Zilla did a good enough job with that, I think.
Toho, I told everybody, told them 400 million, then you can make a sequel. Nope. Personally, I would have loved to see a sequel to that movie. And I understand the anger for a majority of the Godzilla fandom, but there's something they need to remember. There are people out there that did not grow up with Godzilla from 1945 to early 1990s. Nobody really grew up with that stuff. They grew up with 1998 Godzilla in New York. Oh, somebody followed. Oh, Jelly 265. I have to lower it to read it.
Thank you for joining.
They have to remember that not everybody knows, like, Hedora or Gigan or Mogera. No, not very many people at that time knew who they were. And even to this day, they don't know who that is. But they know about Zilla. They know about this new Godzilla. They know about the early 2000s Godzillas.
Yeah.
So while I understand their anger, I also don't understand their blindness to this. There were a lot of people that grew up with 1998, and they think that it's the most fantastic movie they've ever seen. And I agree with them. I'm among them. I didn't even know Godzilla was a thing until this movie came out. I didn't even know about Japanese Godzilla until I was, I don't know, 8.
Yeah, and I think that I think my first exposure, and like I said, I probably mentioned this 100 times before now, but the first Godzilla movie I think I saw um before or after Zilla, I'm not sure, but it was basically again that one where guy in a suit standing on a roof just shouting Godzilla as Godzilla walks by and he just destroys him. Again, I wish I knew what that movie was. I know that there was no monster in that film for him to fight. So it was probably one of those slow burners. Still. Again, I don't doubt for a second that if enough people um, asked for a Zilla sequel, again, to follow this one specifically, I don't doubt TriStar would, or anybody else really, would try it. But again, like I said, I think the Godzilla animated series did a good enough job following, um, following up on that Godzilla story or Zilla story. I think it did a good enough job as it was, at least for the time. Hell, and I'm even sure that um, maybe they even did use that original script for an episode. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, if they did, then whoo, hey, that's good. All right. So moving right along, I suppose, to our next topic then. Again, this one is more hearsay than actual facts, so everyone keep that in mind. And that is Rockstar Games overworking their employees to get their game out on time. Game publishers treat its employees like machines.
Do you want to take a break real quick?
What? No.
We've done 3 topics, and we got 3 left to do.
All right, I suppose we should take a break then. So
Yeah.
I always forget how many we do at these things. So all right, everyone, we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Okay. Why is it the media source always disappears? It's supposed to be Chica from Friday Night at Freddy's eating a pizza. Anyway, yeah, we're gonna take a quick break. The intro music is going to play on repeat. If you don't want to listen to it, that's fine. Just mute it and do whatever you need to do. We're gonna get up, get ourselves something to drink, something to eat. Rev is gonna have a coughing fit, I guess. We will be back. It says 5 minutes, but it sometimes runs longer or a little bit shorter. So yeah, get up, stretch, get yourself something to eat, something to drink, reconnect with the mothership and the hive mind. We'll see you guys later. Yeah, that's enough of that. Well, I'm back. I don't know about Rev, but at least I'm back right now. I'm going to keep it on a 5-minute break until he gets here. Zorora is being released tomorrow in the US. For what? Is that Pokemon Go or? Oh, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Derp. Took me a second. You may need to space that out. Yeah. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon are two totally different games. You really shouldn't put. Yeah, you shouldn't put them together like that. That's confusing. I thought you were thinking like, oh, are you talking about like a Pokemon Pokemon fighting game is similar to Smash Bros? No, you're talking about something totally different. Well, looks like Rev is back. Hello.
And we're back.
Bang. And we're gone. I love that
We
part so
really-
much.
Yeah. Honestly, it's just we gotta update that back in 5 minutes sign one of these days.
Yeah. I'm going to do that next time on Gmod.
All right then. So on to our next topic, which was the Rockstar point.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this isn't much information as it's recently been coming out, though the whole oh god, what's the word? Though the whole Rockstar overworking their employees documented in the past, this recent news article or news is now pending investigations from the
Like after Telltale is like kind of biting the bullet here, they're now investigating everybody else.
more or less, yes. So basically, again, this is just like come out a day or so ago, and people are people are just basically coming out. There's investigations looking into the overclock situation. People even coming to other games journalists or anyone who covers games in general, and they're basically looking into the whole thing. Like I said, this from me was mostly just hearing it through hearsay and doing very, very brief research on it. All I know is that people are, getting overworked. The CEO is trying to save face. Is trying what?
Overworked? Like a Wookie?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Overworked, and the CEO is trying to avoid something being looked into, and is claiming that he said that as a joke or in jest, yada yada yada. Just trying to do things in general that will draw the general eye away from Rockstar, and especially with Red Dead getting out so soon.
Yeah. I know. Oh gods, I know Bill is super excited for Red Dead Redemption 2. Also, hello, Kev.
Yes, and as
Overworked?
you can imagine, oh, fuck off. But yes, as you can imagine, it like you said, in the wake of Telltale, it is eventually going to lead into the whole debacle of what's going on, and they don't want this to slam on them too hard about it. However, this is something that I've been thinking about for a few years now, and my only thought about it was, do we demand too much from game publishers? Do we put the expectation and the expected results?
You're
You know,
cutting
like,
out. We're not understanding you.
where am I cutting out at?
I think essentially what I believe you're saying, like, are we pressuring these guys too much, like demanding they release things sooner and like overworking them? Like, are we demanding too much out of them?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
Like,
Personally,
do you think we're
I say yes.
all right?
Case in point, Terraria. Like you remember like that episode we did where that new Terraria was coming out and then suddenly it got canceled because it wasn't reaching deadlines. The entire time we were talking about that, like in the back of my head, I'm thinking, why do you have deadlines for a project that you're putting your heart and soul into, for something that you love? Why are you putting a deadline on yourself?
Exactly.
Just, I understand that like there's people out there, fans out there that want a new game, that want a sequel to a game. So they apply like a whole bunch of pressure and keep asking and asking and asking and demanding and demanding. But they gotta face the fact, like, it does take a while to make a game. And if you want this game to be good, they need time. I really don't understand why a game sets a deadline for itself. With movies, I understand that perfectly. But with games, not so much.
Yes. And what I believe is okay, and LT brings up an interesting point. I feel like that with Halo and Gears of War, most of us are in a content drought right now. And I see where that comes from as well. People want to play the next installment. They want to, if it's a story or if it's a fun game, they want to see and experience what comes next. And for that, I understand where they're coming from. I really do. But the problem also becomes of there needs to be a middle ground. And unfortunately, the game publishers, the ones who put these devs through hell effectively, do not what's the word I'm looking for here? They do not care for the game makers themselves, the developers. They only care about the bottom line, and very rarely will they what's the word I'm looking for here? Very rarely will they ever come out and push a game's deadline back. Very rarely will they give people the opportunity, or the game developers the opportunity, to relax or take time they need.
The only time that was ever a thing was with the Last Guardian.
Exactly, and it also leads into people believing the game's canceled or it's stuck in development hell, which can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Games can get stuck in development hell, and they can get canceled flat out. That's not the issue I have with it. The issue I have is that I personally think that with games, especially the big ones that we expect, there's an extremely the deadline for it is just way too short, and it leads into the overuse of crunch time. No one in their right minds would want crunch time to be a thing. It's hell on everyone. You know, people have mental breakdowns. People get super stressed out over it, and I can't. You know, because of that, people really. Sorry. Because of that, people expectively, have moments, and they have to stop and realize what's going on.
With that's actually like a thing that artists go through all the damn time. All the damn time.
Yeah, burnout. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, that one. With artists, like people doing commissions, stuff like that, to push out their products and all that, they are risking their own health and their own care to reach a deadline that they set for themselves, or that people who are paying them money set for them. Like, there are artists that will actually starve themselves because of crunch time just to get one page of a comic that people see online to be out there. With developers, it's the exact same thing. These people are not just working themselves like longer than they should. They're also pretty much destroying themselves to get a game out that other people have set a deadline for.
Exactly. And this is the thing about publishers that has led me to say the following. It's that the game industry doesn't need fucking publishers. The publishers exist to bring the game to the public. However, there are people out there who achieve this. There are people out there who manage to get their games out there and noticed without the need of a fucking publisher. And a few examples of this would be Undertale. There was no fucking publisher for that whatsoever, outside of maybe we could argue and say Steam, maybe. But have you seen the Steam marketplace? How much shit is out there?
I think
And
Tumblr played a big role in putting it out there too.
you get my point. The guy, what was it? Toby Fox?
Yeah.
Was it? Basically, Toby Fox went out there. He put his own time and effort to publish and bring the game out there, and look at where he is now. Look at where the game is. It's on fucking Switch, for fuck's sake. A
Yeah.
Nintendo property. This thing has evolved since the days of being just on Steam, and it shows. Whereas, imagine if he had a publisher like EA or 2K or anyone like that, they would be demanding the world of him to the point where he just wouldn't be able to provide the product he was tasked to bring out. And worse, it would just be some horrible microtransaction filled garbage. And this is what I've said to the day I die. This is why I keep saying, many people who share my opinion say the same, is that in a few years, we're going to see another video game market crash, just like the one that happened in the 80s. And I don't think it's going to be the games makers who cause this. I think it's going to be the fucking publishers. They're going to keep because look at what they're doing right now. They are infested with cookie cutter games out every 5 years, every 4 years, every year of that we can imagine. And it's led to people just having having their fill of just various games that are the same thing and going, if I want to play shooter, I could either play the Call of Duty that came out or this one that came out, or just have a multitude of different games you can pick and choose that are the same fucking thing. The only difference is who made it and who made it better. That's it. This is what's going to cause another crash. And at this point, I don't think we're going to be able to bounce back. Honestly, this is what I believe is going to happen. I believe that when the next crash happens, it will be the game publishers that will suffer the hardest of it. Because they're the ones that profit the most off of these games, off of the people and the creators themselves. So they're the ones that are going to get completely destroyed by this crash, and then the indie game makers like them are the ones who are going to make it, because they're the resourceful ones. They're the ones that will survive, and basically once everything's collapsed, they'll just go okay, and
they'll just putter on doing what they need to do.
Exactly. They will continue to make the game.
You were cutting out really bad, but we understand what you're saying. Indie developers, personally, I support indie developers far more than like the big name brands. And even Tumblr's like agreeing on this one. Like, there are posts about like big name brands like AAA game makers, and everyone's response is the Perish meme, because they don't give a shit. They
Very.
want indie developers, and I agree with them. Because with indie developers, they don't have pressure on them. They don't have somebody breathing down their neck about like money or critics or anything like that. They're making a game to make a game. They're making a game to have fun, and each one that comes out is unique. It's interesting, and the stories that they have or the really shitty graphics that they have just bring to the charm.
Exactly, and it leads to, it leads to gems being created or games that are so uniquely interesting that they survive not only the test, the current market, but they survive into the future. And that said, it's going to be that's what's going to happen. That's what I think is going to eventually lead the a new, basically a rebirth of games.
Mm-hmm.
That said, the only company I think that will also benefit from this revival, from this collapse, if it does happen, is going to be fucking Nintendo. Because
Yeah.
they survived the first crash and they actually give a shit, except with their, like, internet services, obviously. But they actually give a shit of the fucking games they make. Any new IP that's made out there is given a fair shot to try and succeed.
Not only that, the games they make, even if it's not Mario or Link or even Sonic, it's something completely new every time. Like,
Sonic isn't Nintendo; it's Sega.
I know, but I know, but you usually only see Sonic games on Nintendo devices. My point is, like, with Mario, nothing has really changed since Mario 64. With Link,
Yes.
with like Legend of Zelda, it hasn't changed, period, but it's still a great game, save for Breath of the Wild. Like, that came out and that was amazing. It is not like any other Zelda game. But when it comes to their games that are not repeats like Mario and Legend of Zelda, it's always something interesting. Like Splatoon, it's PvP in the sense of just painting things. With ARMS, it's Super Smash Bros, but there's no. It's like a Street Fighter, essentially, but with a twist.
Well, Splatoon survives because it's not only a new IP, but it also has a rather very, like we've talked about before, a very tongue-in-cheek kind of story, and one that is both interesting but also pretty dark.
Mm-hmm.
And ARMS is obviously more, silly and childlike because what is it? The joke of the game is that basically people just woke up one day and some of them just had springs for arm for no reason, and the game just kind of runs with it.
Yeah, but this is essentially my point. Whenever it's a new IP, like a totally new game where there's no characters from previous games, it's amazing. It's something completely new. It doesn't even take aspects of these other games. It makes something else.
Yes. I mean, people do make the argument that Mario is the same as COD, and, a new Mario game comes out and they just give you a new gimmick or change it up, just like COD does. The only difference is that, as far as I know, Mario games don't nickel and dime you into paying for power-ups or shit of that nature.
Yeah.
They're actually fun.
Like, my favorite little video about Super Mario Odyssey is where that guy did really stupid jumps along the wall, and somehow he found a pile of coins at the top of the castle. And, like, it's stuff like that that makes me love Nintendo. Because they, like, when it comes to games similar to Super Mario Brothers, they try and constrain you. Like, they don't let you explore the world around you. Like, Okami is a very great example of this. There's this large world you can explore, but you can't jump up onto this one building or that building. You can't jump onto that ledge that you probably could, because there's nothing there. Well, with Nintendo, you want to get on top of that building? Like, they actually consider the possibility that somebody will actually try to do something crazy to get to this location or get to that location. And they either reward them or they just make a joke out of it. Because it's the fun of finding it.
In fact, even the oh god, what's it called? The Super Mario Odyssey. That that was crazy. The amount of detail, the amount of open worldness, the world itself, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
They took what was being done to death by Assassin's Creed Odyssey and those other very annoying open world games, and they added a new spin to it.
Yeah.
The worlds you go to are open, but they're so condensed and there's so much small stuff happening in it that it feels more lived in. Okay, like perfect example of this would be let's say an Odyssey, not Mario, Assassin's Creed. It's massive, right? You're going through most of
Yeah.
what is it? Old Rome, Greece?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I
stopped
stopped
caring.
caring after the third game. I just stopped. I don't care.
Yeah, basically, it's big, and then you get to go somewhere or some small patch of the open world, and there's these 5 random NPCs that are copy pasted elsewhere. Whereas with Odyssey, Super Mario, the NPCs are copy pasted, yeah, but they're in such a small cluster and constantly on a jug in that small area that it feels lived in and realistic, you know?
Mm-hmm.
A perfect example of this would be, and even then, every one of them has a different dialogue blurb you can interact with, and they'll say something silly or new, and every single NPC in every different region is different from one another. It's not just the same 5 toads, it's different inhabitants of different areas.
Mm-hmm.
It just, like I said, it all feels alive and lived in. The only issue I have is the realistic shit in this otherwise cartoony game. It creates that uncanny valley effect I don't like.
Yeah, well, that's just, you're just like a handful of people that view that. Most people just don't give a shit. It's a game.
I know, but the problem is the inconsistency. That's the
Mm-hmm.
issue I have with it. It's like everything else I could ignore, except why is there a realistic T-Rex in a world that that has confirmed that every dinosaur has giant noses for some reason?
I don't know. It's a game.
Yeah,
Like,
I get.
I've never, I've only seen like glimpses of Breath of the Wild, and I've been meaning to watch somebody just play it. Who knows what reason? But I have to say, from the things I've seen, even Breath of the Wild, even that feels lived in. Like,
Yeah, because it does the same thing.
like,
Every NPC. Go ahead.
I used to play Skyrim a lot, a whole heck of a lot, till I was level 40, and then suddenly just disappeared. But I would play it, and it felt, oh, how best do I describe it? It feels like a kid playing in their room with army soldiers. You know, like those little plastic guys. Yeah, thank you, LT. But like, it felt catered to you. It felt like it's your imagination doing whatever it can to do whatever you want. There is no structure. It's just there. It felt empty. Every character sounded the same. Every character looked the same. Every character talked the same. They did the same animations. It felt hollow.
Exactly. That's the issue. Whereas with Breath of the Wild, the animations are varied enough and the NPCs are spread out enough
And some of
that
them
it
even
feels
have voices.
exactly a perfect. Well, what I want to point out is this: with Skyrim's NPCs, they have a set place to go, so they'll walk to a certain area and they'll have a series of candid animations. But the problem is they'll try to make them look more organic and natural in that versus what Zelda does, which is just basically only a few short animations for NPCs to walk to a place, do something, and then walk away with very little else to them. It's a moment thing, not a okay, day one, this NPC's here, day two, this NPC's over here now, that kind of thing. That's what Skyrim does,
Hmm.
which leads into something else. Another example of good NPCs in terms of open worlds or believable would be, ironically enough, Monster Hunter World. That in the entire village you go to in that one, Astera, feels lived in because everyone's always doing something. No one's, yeah, there are the NPCs that stand around doing nothing, but there's enough non-important NPCs walking around and doing other shit that you don't feel like you're an outsider. Plus, there's an entire area where other players can appear and you can all talk to each other and work together. It feels like a breathing town
Hmm.
versus Skyrim. We're just going to keep going back and bashing Skyrim, aren't
Which is sad because I do love Skyrim.
we?
I want to play it
Yes,
again so bad.
let's for the fifth time in a row this year. And we don't even fix any of the bugs. We just keep everything as it was. They're releasing a fifth game, right? I'm sorry, a sixth game, right?
Uh,
Elder Scrolls 6, The Quest for the Golden Butt Plug. I, I'm going to make art of that now, for fuck's sake.
no.
It's going to be. No, I've said it. It's going to be a thing now. I am going to personally make us an image for the show for the quest for the golden butt plug. This is happening.
Oh god, there's actually like some D&D art that I absolutely love. I can't find it. I think it's on my Tumblr.
Yes, LT, really. It's happening.
They found like a magic item. It's a butt plug of teleportation, but you must use it to teleport. And it shows like the person holding it has like a disgusted face, and you see like the two friends on the other side are looking at him like, please use it.
Yes. This is happening. I'm making it a thing. I don't care what happens to us. We're doing this.
I'm not putting it up on stream. Just gonna flat out say that. No.
I'm fine. I'll make a censored version.
I don't think it's gonna matter. Like, Twitch has rules. YouTube has rules. We're gonna have our show completely gone if you do that.
It's going to be censored, and we'll just fuck it. Like I said, we'll just do an entire censored shit. Because everyone seems to hate fun, apparently, these days. But no, anyway. But that's the thing about these open world games now, especially with the Nintendo and, other games that make them. These open worlds have very few NPCs in them. And these NPCs specifically are just, they have candid animations. They're not designed to feel real, lived in, because that's what tends to kill a lot of open world games. And that is, there are too many NPCs trying to act like they're living people versus NPCs that are just candid but look natural enough to be enjoyed.
But like, this is another thing about open world games that they do. They want the player to how do I best describe it? To tell the story. Like, everything relies on the player. But they don't think about the fact that this player is going to be exploring and looking at everything in this world and trying to live in it, essentially.
Exactly. And speaking of like Monster Hunter World, there is something I find very interesting about the games, or the game, just not Monster Hunter World. It's all the games in general, and that is these games never really give any of its NPCs names. They just give them. You just know them by what they do in the game. Even your character, even though you could give them a name you want, won't have that name set. It will just always be, you'll always be known as A rank hunter. That's it. Or Hell, even your compatriot in the field is just
I found the comic
Oh, good.
by Jeffers on Tumblr. I'm going to share this with you because I'm not putting it on the stream.
Fine.
You'll see what I mean.
Yeah, but what I mean is that, what's the word I'm looking for here? All of the oh Christ, it's on the back of my every single NPC and every single person is only given the yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
But all of the NPCs and all the characters don't have names. They're just given titles for their roles. You know, like the cat who runs the canteen. He's just known as the muscular chef or the commander. He's just known as the commander. There is no name to these people. And that's kind of fine, you know? Because you don't really know anyone here. You're just here to do a job, and you just know them by the name, by their title. It's just like any other job you go do on your first few days. You don't know anyone by name. You just know them as, hey, this is my boss who runs the floor, or this is the crate boss, or just things of that nature.
Like here's the thing. Like, one, they're doing that so the player doesn't feel alone. Two, like when you think about the jobs that they have to do in Monster Hunter World, like what their job is, maintain balance and order, because these creatures are going to fuck themselves if we don't. Needing to know the name is the last thing on your mind. It's doing your goddamn job.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that all these characters you meet with are unique. They look different. They stand out from one another. And this is a weird situation where you want to know their names. And even if you don't know them, you could probably guesstimate a name for them that would not just reflect what they do in the game, but also what their character and personality would be like. You wind up picking names in your mind that would best summarize them, even if they don't actually have these names. Which now, and of course, this is also an incredible pain in the ass for the obligatory fanfic writers who can't do their fan fictions justice because everyone doesn't have a fucking name. Yes. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, yes. Well, like I said, I guess this covers everything on that front. So,
yep.
Let's go into the next one. Again, this is another little bit of information that's recently just been coming out, and that is Little Nightmares getting a Netflix series.
Oh boy.
We all know it's gonna freaking suck.
I haven't even seen anything about the game.
Little Nightmares is actually successful enough to stand out on its own, believe it or not. It's not just fun and intriguing, but it also has its own unique art style, which is very rare to find. Actually, the art, what the art style is, like a cross between Coraline and something Studio Ghibli would make.
Like from the thumbnails, I thought it was gonna be something like Tim Burton.
Also Tim Burton. It's a mix of all three, I suppose. Like all the characters have a very Tim Burton-esque or Coraline-esque appearance to them, but they all have but they all stand out. What's the word? But they also stand out in terms of like the designs are very clearly Studio Ghibli-esque. Because all the characters, all the monsters do look different from each other, but in a good way. Just like how in any Studio Ghibli movie, all the non-humans look very um, imaginative. It's the same with Little Nightmare, at least with some of the monsters and creative aspects. But anyway, getting a Netflix series though, that is quite interesting. Again, we know that the game didn't well enough to warrant multiple DLC sequels for itself. I believe, or maybe three, which was good. Um, but outside of that, it's also had a short run comic series, which unfortunately is apparently being cancelled due to issues that they haven't specified yet, which is a bit concerning. I've actually read some of the comics and they're pretty damn good. They do more to expand the world than just tell a story about what you just did in the game. Like the world outside, it turns out that a lot of the quote unquote guests don't just look once they come in. Like everyone in the world is incredibly fat and obese and having weird faces, kind of thing,
Mm.
which I found interesting. Again, there's like a side story that's leading into the events of Little Nightmares, the game proper, which I found interesting. But then, of course, the question becomes, what is this Netflix series going to aim for? Is this going to be straight up adaptation, or is this going to be a sort of in universe kind of story?
Don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
I personally hope it's not a direct adaptation because Netflix has a horrible, horrible track record when it comes to direct adaptations of things.
Mm-hmm.
Case in point, the Death Note um, live action movie they made. That thing was horrible. Like, excuse me, horrible to the point where, I mean, I used to see the series. I liked it. It was pretty interesting. But the Netflix version was just, the fuck is this?
Yep.
Who is this retarded fuck, and why should I root for him? And who is this autistic one? Who are these people, and why should I care? It just, the only good thing I'll say that came out of that movie was Willem Dafoe. They got him to play the demon in that one, and he stole the fucking show. Hold on. Hold on, give me one quick second.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Like the time he's on screen, it's quite funny. What's up?
I was about to say you're cutting out, but no, we got what you mean.
Okay. But like the one thing I wanted to to happen in the movie, just him really going crazy, like jumping off the walls kind of nuts as he kind of does. Go tap into your Green Goblin roots from the first Spider-Man movie and run with that.
Hmm.
But no, it never happened. It was just like, ugh. He just put on a creepy face, and that was the end of it. Really, sorry, creepy voice. Ugh, face, voice. I will say this though. Apparently, like they got the good kind of voice for the guy, but the costume work for the character was just, it was poor. Like it was okay. It was practical effects, and they did try to make it look as good as humanly possible. But unfortunately, it had nothing on, ironically enough, the CGI version which looked more lifelike. As crazy as it sounds. It's weird to explain, it really is.
Yeah.
Anyway, I believe that covered everything. Like I said, unfortunately, this information is coming out as, this information has just recently come out and nobody knows what's happening. Which is rather sad, but, what you gonna do?
Yeah. Again, we'll have to wait and see.
Hold on once more. Yes. All right, then. And I suppose we're on to our last bit, which is, of course, the Rev review.
Yeah, I still need to make a jingle for that.
And today's review is on the new movie Venom.
I have no opinion on this. I don't really want to see it. I don't care about hero movies, so go for it.
I didn't want to go see it either, but after a while, it was either this or watch the new Predator movie, and so I went with this instead. And it's actually not bad, believe it or not. I mean, here's the issue: the guy that got to play Eddie Brock he sucks. All right, I'm just gonna put it out there. Basically, the idea is that this time around, there is no Spider-Man, there's no Peter Parker. So Eddie is just a news reporter, except he's more of the type to jump into a story and really investigate, like sneak into a warehouse and document evidence, kind of get into it.
Yeah.
And what winds up happening is that as the story, he is sort of socially awkward, which is kind of weird, or he's a bit too pushy when it comes to his journalism. Hell, it even suggests that even though he's a weird nutcase as it is, he does get the story and the job done, and people like him for it. Again, he does a sort of news podcasting, like kind of like what we do, except better, apparently.
Mm.
Has a girlfriend. Whole life is going well until he decides to look into something called the Life Foundation and some I don't know what they Indian looking fellow. I don't know what he is. Basically runs the whole Life Foundation, and apparently he's a sociopath. Like, we're talking, okay, we have some success with the animal test subjects. Good. Move on to human trials. But we don't know what will happen if no, we're going to do it anyways. Because fuck people, basically. Like, we're talking about
one
this
of those
guy.
kind of people.
Exactly. Like, his whole... what's implied is that he got success early on in life. And he's very young, very ambitious, and hasn't learned that your actions have consequences. And guy with all that money, all that power, he can make people disappear, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not afraid to do it. People are afraid of him, but afraid in the terms of, like, they think he'll just get you fired from your job, which is what he does to Eddie and his girlfriend, to the point where she even leaves him for some doctor. And of course, his life is shit now. And one of the female co-workers of this CEO fellow decides she's had enough. She's seen this horrible thing where basically one of their spaceships crashes in Singapore. They retrieve 3 specimens, but the 4th one breaks loose. Eddie Brock is then brought into the labs, and then here's the crazy thing. They bring new information about the symbiotes and about how, like, they won't bind to just about any host. It has to be like some really specific person, someone they can, like, be simpatico with. They even say it's like kind of with what's the word? It's like with an organ transplant kind of thing.
Yeah.
Basically that's the thing. And so whenever they try to release the symbiotes into other people, the symbiotes kill them. And it isn't like some gruesome, I'm burst out of the stomach, or no, nothing like that. It's more like it's like the body just starts contorting and contracting, and like things are breaking from the inside out. But it's not like overly gory or overly horrendous, which I found pretty smart, if you ask me. But of course, Eddie winds up going into one of the symbiotes latches onto him, and well, there you got Venom. What follows is basically Eddie Brock and Venom trying to coexist, but Eddie doesn't know about Venom yet, so he's just acting insane. Like we're talking, hey, there's a dog there. Let me bite it. Kind of crazy. Like he's always hungry, always crazy. They try to do an MRI scan on him, doesn't go well. The doctor discovers he has a parasite, and roughly about that point is when Venom starts revealing who he is, and he basically threatens Eddie and says the following, like, look, basically we're together, you're my ride, and that's about it. But over a bit of time, Venom just kind of starts warming up to him, more or less. Again, it's a weird buddy cop kind of dynamic, but not fully. Venom kind of busts his balls about some things, like, what is it? He tries to break back into his former news business building, but he can't get in through the front door. And he's in human form, so he doesn't like have Venom out yet. So then Venom looks up, or as they're outside, he just says, "You want up? Why didn't you just say so?" Cut to Venom scaling the whole thing like it's nothing. Which I thought, again, it's a little funny, it's a little clever. Of course, plane flies over, almost kills the two. And by that I mean with sound, not actually hit them. So, yeah. So of course, Venom and him start doing the whole, they basically put the evidence of the labs at the desk. The police arrive because at this point, he's already basically killed a bunch of the Life Foundation security guards that wanted to take him in. And of course, as they're getting them, Venom just says, just jump, as he's looking out the window. He chooses not to and just take the elevator, and Venom calls him out on it, just says pussy and everything. Which I found a little funny. It's like, I mean, if it was me, I would have said, why bother? A feast, an all-you-can-eat buffet just rolled up, and you want us to jump and leave. Where's the logic in that? But of course, Eddie does try to keep the symbiote under control, keep him from killing people flat out, so he doesn't kill the cops, which I thought was also pretty nice. His girlfriend and her boyfriend kind of aren't like super bitchy, even though she breaks up with him because he got her fired. It's more like she still worries about him, but not to the point. It's more like pity worry more than love worry, I think. She's still a bitch, though. Anyway, it turns out that Venom is actually killing him. He's basically atrophied all of his organs, making it so he can't leave him without killing him, basically. Which I figured was a pretty smart thing, It adds a new twist to the whole Venom aspect, because they've always, everyone's been able to kind of, rip them off as if there's nothing, so it kind of makes you question, okay, if they're a parasite, then where's the negative aspect, But no, as it turns out, basically, Venom, if he's removed from Eddie, Eddie will die due to organ failure, because he's been basically sapping away his body. It's a give and take like this. Basically, if Venom doesn't feed regularly, he will feed off of the organs inside Eddie Brock's body and then move on to the next one. But if the host, in this case Eddie, still keeps him around, still keeps him going, then he will, regenerate and resuscitate the fading organs so he won't die. Which, that's weird, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not crazy, am I? Yeah. Anyway, so throughout the whole movie, there's a give and take. The CEO guy winds up getting infected by another symbiote, which, by the way, there is a bit of a subplot going on. The one that got away jumps from body to body, which I found kind of interesting. Basically, taking over the body of a paramedic, then an old Asian woman, then a little girl before jumping to the CEO. It turns out that basically the reason why the symbiotes are coming to Earth is because there's an abundance of life here. Venom and the four others were basically here with their leader, which is called Riot, with the goal of basically starting off, going back to the asteroid they came from and saying, hey, here's the planet, everyone on the ship, and let's go. But Venom doesn't want them to come. He actually admits that he's grown to like the planet, he's grown to like the people, and he's grown to like Eddie. Not just as a host, apparently. He even admits, on my back in my world, I'm somewhat of a loser, just like you. Which I don't know if that's sweet or just being insulting. Anyway, the two fight. Riot basically is pissed with Venom because Venom doesn't want to bring the rest of them home. And this is the weird thing as well. For some reason, Venom can't create weapons. Riot can do that, and it's heavily implied that it's something specific to the leader caste of symbiotes. Again, I find that very strange. Anyway, the movie ends basically. Riot is killed, Eddie Brock survives, and the two decide to work together as a bit of an anti-hero group. Venom, of course, is still very hungry, but Eddie rules and says there are good people and there are very, very, very bad people. Good people and slightly bad people we don't eat, but the really bad people we do eat. And of course, Venom's like, well, how do you tell? And he says, oh, you'll know. There's a bit of an aura or a smell around them. You'll figure it out. Of course, leading to the end where he basically just devours a guy trying to hold up a convenience store. Which, go figure. Of course, it also leads to the last joke of the series where after Eddie turns back to normal and the shop owner who he's friends with asks, what the hell was that? He basically says, oh, I've got a parasite, but, it's nothing serious. Walks away, and Venom has a fit. He hates being called parasite. He even says, apologize now. It's a bit cute, if albeit a bit disturbing. Yeah. So, in my opinion, I think Venom is worth the watch. Mostly because it isn't your typical superhero movie. It does drag, and the guy that got to play Eddie Brock isn't too incredibly interesting. The script's all right. Again, it's a very mediocre movie, but one you can sit down and enjoy for the sheer, cheesy comic book hero film to it,
Yeah.
So, again, this is more of a rent movie than it is go to the theater.
It's a Friday night Pizza Hut movie.
Exactly, that's it.
Yeah.
It's a movie you get with your friends, you sit down, you have your pizza, and you just start laughing at the sheer, wow, that's cool.
Or
I will say
or
this,
it's essentially a New Year's movie, like Cloverfield.
or that as well. Well, to be honest, I'm gonna be honest. I love, they kind of ditched the spider symbol on the chest and they made him look more organic. More like an actual monster, not just a suit that grew teeth and walked away.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, even the quote unquote eyes on the suit or on his head are actually eyes. Like they actually blink and everything. Which I thought was a pretty cool a thing, basically they give Venom subtle facial expressions throughout the movie. There's the constant smile, obviously, but there are actually moments in the movie where you see Venom frown, or ever so slightly. It's just you have to really look and see where the creases of his mouth start to go down a bit. Overall, I like it. Again, the design is really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I do hope I hope the movie does well enough to earn a sequel. Another Venom movie. Just for the sheer interesting Venom angle, I mean. Everything else can be But yeah, the movie does prove it doesn't need Spider-Man. You don't need a Spider-Man to make a good or interesting Venom. Let me rephrase that. You don't need a Spider-Man to make an interesting Venom movie. But you do need him for a good Venom movie. That's all I'm gonna have to say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, look forward to Venom 2, The Electric Boogaloo on DVD.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
wait. I found something. Let's just put this on screen to basically sum up the Venom movie just real quick. And yes, this is a part of an official Marvel comic. So there's no artist that we have to credit or anything.
What the fuck?
Exactly.
What?
Yeah, let it be. Again, there was a brief period in time where Venom did try to become a hero type person.
I remember somebody posted like a comic scene where he rescued a child from their birthday clown.
I just saw it as well.
Just no thank you. No thank you.
Yeah, again, I get what he's going for. It's just, dude, lose the teeth. Trust me, you're scaring people.
Mm-hmm.
We're all not as thick-skinned here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as a lot of people said, Venom really was goofy back in the 80s. I'm like, yeah, he kind of is.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, and I believe that covers everything. There is an asshole outside with his fucking muscle car.
I got a heater going on right behind me.
I can't hear the heater, but I'm sure
I
everyone
know.
can hear that.
It's loud. Well, we can't hear what you're hearing, and you can't hear what I'm hearing, but on either end, it's loud.
Good. So you with the muscle car, I'm going to get you. I'm going to figure out who you are, and then I'm going to crush your car in front of
I think we should end it now.
It's like, and there goes Rev with a random rage. All right, so yeah, I guess we're stopping it here then.
Yep.
Thank you everyone for joining us for episode 26 of Left for Random Talk.
Yep.
All right then, and this has been Rev and HH, and like always, we will see you around next time.
Yep.
Goodbye.
So now it's just me and the audience. Closing out of the call, just in case Rev pops back in for some weird reason. I say this at the end of every stream, regardless of what I'm doing. I'm tired. On Twitch, there's a creeper face down below. YouTube, there used to be a link, but now it's not there anymore. Don't click on the creeper face. If there's anything there that says, like, click this and this and this to support the show, like right now, don't click on it, because it's not going to help. What actually helps us is spreading the word, sharing the links, like to Twitter, to Tumblr, etc., etc. I forgot to put this on Tumblr. God damn it. But anyway, spreading the word and just getting the word out there that we're doing this show, it really, really helps us out. The creeper face and the donation link will be put back sometime soon. We'll have to wait and see. I'm working on that. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching. We stream this every Thursday, and I do art and gaming streams every other day. Hopefully. I'm trying. But right now, I want to go play some Overwatch, so have a good night, everybody.